We have 3 brand new LEGO Star Wars sets officially revealed to us for 2026, and we're going to start things off with the buildable BB-8, a part of the new downscaled buildable character line. And this is a set that I don't love, but I don't hate. But what I do hate about the set is the price of $90 with only 569 pieces. Now, I've been on the record a million times saying that price per piece doesn't matter all too much, but in certain cases it is hard to ignore, especially with this set right here. It reminds me a lot of the Midi Scale set of the Kylo Ren shuttle, which had just under 400 pieces, but they gave it a $70 price tag. Even besides price per piece, what you get right here in this image on screen, I don't really think is worth $90. I do think it looks very nice, but I do think that this set will line up relatively nice alongside sets like R2-D2, Chewbacca, K2SO, and those other characters. And if we look at the dimensions of the set, on Lego.com, it says it's going to be over 3.5 inches tall, which I feel like this should be taller than that. I'm kind of taken back by that. I don't think this is 3.5 inches tall. This might be a bit of a typo, unless I am just going crazy or somehow not looking in the right place, but I don't think so. 3.5 inches tall for this thing? I don't believe that. Either way, no set that's 3.5 inches tall should be the price tag of $90 unless they are giving us some gold within the set. So yeah, this set just doesn't feel $90 worth to me, but I do like the box art on the set. I think it's nice to get something a bit colorful on the box art, because the other 2 sets we'll take a look at in a little bit have that standard black 18+ box art, which is nice, but it is just a bit plain for my taste. We do get a BB-8 minifig included, and we do get plenty of play features. Starting off with the front can actually open up, and we can see some tools and other kits that you can play around with. BB-8 can fix stuff and all of that jazz that we see predominantly with the R2-D2 in the years past, which is going to be nice, and it will be good to have R2 and BB-8 on shelves together. The R2, I believe, was scheduled to retire earlier in the year, and then they ended up extending the shelf life another year, so you can have these 2 sets side by side, you know, get some more of these buildable characters on shelves at the same time, which is never a bad thing. The back of the box does show off some more of those awesome play features, and it appears that on the bottom of the set there will be a wheel that can be used as a function to maybe move around the head when you roll it back and forth. I assume that's what's going to happen, because we see an arrow pointing up actually, and we can have the other arrows also showing that if you move it side to side, the head will actually swivel. So that's a pretty neat invention there. I do think comparing this to the larger scale model, or the one from a few years back, I believe, when was it, 2017, 2018? I don't even remember off the top of my head. I do like that one more. I think it would just better. While this one is maybe a bit cleaner, but it is super small and downscaled, the price of this is really what's going to hold it back for me. I don't see myself going out and getting this on day one. Maybe I will go out and buy this maybe May 4th and stack it with a couple other sets to hit the threshold for whatever the GWP will be, or I'll wait for it to go on a 20 or 30% discount, which is going to eventually happen, whether it's a few months after the set releases like we see with a lot of sets, or before it retires, which is when I think we can see a 30% discount. But I think the set should be a popular one, but at the same time, I'm not sure how popular right off the bat. I don't think it looks bad. I just think the price is bad for what you're actually getting. And it seems that Lego didn't learn from the August wave from this past year, it appears. To me, this set feels like it should be worth that $70 price point. At the maximum, $65, $70 is really where I feel it lies. But who knows? Maybe eventually, a few months, years down the line, when I get my hands on this set, maybe I can justify the $90 price point. I just find it hard to do right now, but you never know. I would love to grab the set, but definitely at a discount. Another set that I think fans will love, though, is going to be with the Midi Scale AT-AT Walker. Yes, you heard that right, a Midi Scale AT-AT Walker. It's pretty crazy to me that Lego actually made a Midi Scale AT-AT Walker, because it seems that forever they were so set on making it about vehicles that fly, or the Starship collection, I should say. And it seems that Lego ended up actually taking a turn for the better here and saying, you know what? we're going to do any vehicle that is in Star Wars, which is awesome because this extends the possibility for sets we can get to quite literally anything we see in Star Wars. I think we can get a AT-AT, a AT-ST, maybe even a speeder bike, whatever you can imagine we can get, which is going to be super exciting for the future. But this wasn't a crazy thing to happen for LEGO to release because I think that the gingerbread AT-AT walker that came out not too long ago, a few months before the release of this set, is pretty much the same thing in terms of shape because, well, they both are AT-AT walkers. And all they had to do was color swap it from the holiday specs to gray. And the size of them, I'm pretty sure, are relatively the same. We look over at the specifications for the gingerbread AT-AT walker, and we see it's 7.5 inches tall, 9 inches long, and 4 inches wide. And the AT-AT walker, we can see it's 6.5 inches tall and 7.5 inches long. So extremely similar, if not pretty much exactly the same. And if you have the gingerbread AT-AT, you pretty much know exactly the size of it at this point on your display, and it's going to look great. I love it. I love how they ended up actually kind of changing up the display stand a little bit for it and how it's standing on it and it's not raised up like the other starships. I think that looks very nice and sleek, which is going to be a huge bonus. And we actually have the addition of the snow speeder, which caused the AT-AT in the Empire Strikes Back to fall, which was a really nice touch. LEGO didn't even have to include that, but yet they still did. Another thing is the box art for this is actually the same as the UCS model. We see when comparing both of these sets, they both have the same lightish blue glow in the background on the black box art. So if you do so happen to go out and buy this, you funny enough have a UCS AT-AT, a Midi Scale AT-AT, and a big UCS AT-AT box, and a micro or Midi AT-AT box, which is pretty funny and cute, I would say. The one thing about this set that I am kind of upset with is the fact that you're not going to be able to pose the feet, or at least it doesn't seem like you can in the images that I see, because it seems that they all have the same pose with the legs, which, you know, it would have been nice if maybe we could have change them up a little bit. I'm not exactly sure if that will be possible or not. It's just every photo on lego.com and every photo on screen always has just one foot up in the air, which is the front left. But if that's my one complaint about this, I think I'll be all right. And as far as the price goes, it will be for $65 and it will have 525 pieces. So overall, not the worst price set in the world, like we saw with the BB-8, which just had a few more pieces and it was almost $30 more. But the fun does not stop there, as we have yet another Midi Scale set, which I honestly never thought we would get, with the Venator. This is going to have 643 pieces and cost $80, so yes, another set that is slightly overpriced, but I think it gets saved by how beautiful it looks. This thing is absolutely just stunning. It's gorgeous. And a big thing I noticed right off the bat is that this isn't like the flagship Venator that the UCS model was. This is just your standard Venator, because the bridge doesn't have the red coloring on it. It is all gray. So I'm sure many fans will be happy with that. And maybe you could even go out and buy multiple of them and make a Midi Scale Venator army or fleet if you would like to. I think that is something that we could see maybe for mock building or something like that. You take it off the stand, you can use some fish wiring, hang it up, and you can have a pretty nice looking fleet of Venators, which that would be pretty sick to see people doing that. I know it's going to happen. Once again, the box arts for this and the UCS model are relatively the same. So everything I said for the AT-ATs, I think are the same exact and very true here. It's really funny how you can just have a UCS model box and then the Midi Scale, you know, on the larger end, and then the smaller, easier to display. I will say I am kind of shocked that they are releasing this at the same time that the UCS model will be on shelves. I think that will kind of eat into sales of the UCS one, but you know what? I still am very happy we are getting this rather than never getting it at all. I think at all angles, it looks absolutely just stunning. Everything they did with those translucent blue pieces, the engines, and no, you don't have to worry about engine sag with the scale that the engines are. At least I would hope so. And LEGO does show off one of the Easter eggs, or I can't even call it an Easter egg at this point because they are showing it to us with, if you open up the bridge, we can actually see two tiny studs there that appear to be Anakin and Obi-Wan, or at least I would assume that's what they are referencing to, which is really nice. I do like when they don't show us and we build and we find it in that way, but hey, I think it's another good selling point that fans can have. The back of the box has a very similar image that we've seen on the UCS box with the Venator from above, which looks really cool. And I think this might be my favorite Midi Scale set to date. And I think many people will agree with that, or at least have it somewhere in their top 2. I think this and the Super Star Destroyer are two beautiful models, and they should be very similar in size if we can pull up and compare those. The Super Star Destroyer will be over 5.5 inches tall, 17 long, and 7 inches wide, while the Venator will be 15 inches tall, 12 inches long, and 6 inches wide. So two extremely similar sets. Obviously, the Superstar Destroyer in universe is insanely big. It's much bigger than the Venator, so I would assume that it would be slightly larger in all aspects than the Venator, but still, I think that these two sets side by side will be really cool to look at because they are two of my favorite vehicles, or just ships in the entire Star Wars universe. Overall, I'm thrilled with this set. I'm thrilled with the 3 sets we have so far. I will say I am shocked that we've yet to have a Midi Scale TIE Fighter or X-Wing release yet, just because we know how much LEGO loves to have those 2 sets on shelves at all times. But maybe they want to keep them strictly to a play scale model instead of the Midi Scale, but I still think that that's coming at one point or another. Maybe next year, maybe later this year, who exactly knows? But at this point, for now, I think LEGO is trying to completely just avoid having 2 of those sets that we see year after year in the Midi Scale line, and give us, the fans, some more unique and less seen ships, like the Invisible Hand, like the Home One, like, I'm trying to think about the Super Star Destroyer, even though the last one, I believe, was the UCS model, and then we should be getting another UCS model this year, but that's a whole talk for another day. Either way, all things considered, besides the price, I do think that these sets will be very popular. We still have more January sets to get through, as LEGO will probably reveal them soon in the coming days or even weeks, since, well, we already have 3 of them and we have a few more to go. So let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you like? What do you dislike? What are you most excited for? And will you go out and buy any of these on day one? Or will you be like many people and wait for a sale, or maybe May 4th to stack them with other sets? Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more LEGO content, and I will see you in the next one.